Hey there, I am Chris Palmer. In today's content writing for SEO video, what I'd like to share with you is exactly how much content do you need to create in order to start ranking on Google. Now, when we're talking about content creation, it is essential for getting organic web traffic to your website. Now, I have to say, because it goes without saying, that when we're talking about any type of website creation or pages or content, it always comes down to two things: time and budget. Now, a lot of times, if you know that the best practices are 2 to 4 pages per week, you're going to be hindered by time or budget, right? Now, what I want to walk you through in this video is going to give you a clear understanding of what is important. Along with what is important, I also want to give you an absolutely clear understanding of what is going to be needed in order to start ranking. Like, how much do you actually have to create? Or how much unique content do you have to create? And last but not least, I want to go ahead and just give you a visual representation, because I'm a visual learner, so I assume that you are as well, so you can have a much better understanding of content creation for SEO, so you could start getting traffic from Google and other search engines. But before I get into that, please take a second, go to SEOmastermind.org. Head on over to SEOmastermind.org. You'll land on this page. Click on the Explore button. And from here, the left-hand side, you can get to everything. Whether it's masterminds, trainings, services, all services, or private consulting. All right? Everything is right there. Check it out. No more to be said about that. Now, let's get back over here to the topic at hand. Content writing for SEO. How much content do you need to create in order to start ranking, right? Now let's take a look here. I want to divert your attention here to the screen. This is a plumbing website that's brought to you in part by Cornell University. This is an image from one of their data representations of a website, okay? Now this is a visual representation of data. This is a website. This is a plumbing website. This is site number 1, example number 1. Take a look at this site. It's all about plumbing. Look how many pages it has. These are pages on a website. This is the home page. Now, let's take a look at site number 2. All right, here is the home page. These are all pages about plumbing. This is site number 2. Now, we're going to go one more page, one more example, and I want you to take a look at this site right here. Again, another plumbing site. Let's take a look at this. Take a look at this visual representation of data. Here is the home page, and here is the rest of the pages. Okay, we're talking about pages and subpages and silos, content creation, right? Now, which one, in your opinion, is going to have better success over the long term by getting organic search traffic to their website? Site 1, site 2, or site number 3? They're all the same type of site, but which one overall will have more success getting more traffic in the long term? Site number 3. Because if we're thinking like a computer, like an AI, like Google, at the end of the day, Google doesn't care what the site looks like. It doesn't read the words. It doesn't care. If I'm looking at a graphical visualization of data, which site is going to perform the best? The site that covers the topic in its entirety, of course. So if we take a look here, if we're going to create content with an end goal in mind to cover every topic possible about a specific topic, that site over time is going to perform better, right? Right. So the rule of thumb is 2 to 4 pages on a weekly basis, right? But you can be more strategic than that when creating our content. And that's exactly what I'm going to lay out for you right now. We can be more strategic about our content creation process. Because at the end of the day, if we scroll down here and we start talking about a plumbing website, which these 3 examples lay out or depict, we can see that we're going to have our homepage. We're going to have our commercial services page. We're going to have our residential services page. We'll have our about, our plumbing tips, or you can call it a blog, but it's really just a tips, right? Because nobody's searching for a plumbing blog, right? But there might be searching for plumbing tips. And then on top of that, you'll have other filler pages like copyrights, privacy policies, about us's, things along these lines. Maybe you need something for the hearing impaired. You're going to have other types of filler type pages, right? So these pages right here, as far as content creation, right? We need these pages. Here's one page. This is 14 pages. That's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 from the door. 14 different services plus filler pages is at least 20 pages from the door without even doing any type of content creation, right? Now, here's a way that you can go ahead so you can better understand the creation or the process, is that after I create a piece of content, okay, regarding a specific type of service, a really good rule of thumb is that I should create 3 pieces, okay, of supporting content to give more depth to that particular product. And what I mean by this is if I'm doing, just so I can have a better example here, let's go out here and let's just say this, okay? Let's do, here, we'll go over here. Let's clean this off. All right. Okay. So here, come over here to Google. All right, let's just do Houston Plumber. Okay. I was going to show this example. I just looked this up. So I know that there's a nice one there that has a layout that I want to share. Okay. I don't know whose site this is. It's just an example. Okay. All right. Now, when we take a look here and we see, because I'm not really sure what the actual services are, but so we have plumbing repair, installation, we have drain cleaning, line plumbing, gas line plumbing, and VIP services. There's actually 2, 4, 6, 7 there. Perfect. That's my exact example. Then we have our commercial plumbing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 14, and now they're doing air conditioning and heating. They have their service areas laid out, reviews, contact us, and home. So the layout that I put is pretty general, I would say. Now, what I'm talking about supporting pieces of content, now that we know the types of services, let's just take that drain cleaning as an example. As a good rule of thumb, as far as content that needs to be created, if I have a drain cleaning service, okay, let's come on down here, and it's drain cleaning, all right? So, if one of these services for the residential side is drain cleaning, then what I want to do is I want to give at least 3 separate articles that have to do with drain cleaning. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do this right here. This is how I do it for my clients. 10 tips you need to know about drain cleaning. Now, there's no geo modifiers. In my humble opinion, these should be location-based service pages here. So let's just say that we're doing services in Houston. This is going to be, just again, to give you a much better understanding of the thought process. It's going to be https:/website.com/Houston drain cleaning. All right. So this is going to be the page. All right. Now I'm going to have a blog here. And one of the things that you could click on is going to be 10 tips. 10 tips you need to know about drain cleaning, okay? But by no stretch of the imagination is that going to be a flat page, meaning close to the root. It's not going to be website.com/10 tips you need to know about drain cleaning. Why? Because as I go further in the structure, I'm showing less and less importance, right? And I'm not trying to rank a blog page. I'm trying to rank the service page. So that would mean that the blog is there to support the primary service, right? So that's exactly how I'm going to lay it out to the bot. I'm going to have my primary service page being website.com/Houston drain cleaning. And I'm going to have a blog page or a supporting piece of content that's going to be titled 10 tips you need to know about drain cleaning. Now, the objective here is to create at least 3 articles to support each service page. So that would mean that if at the start of a campaign, if I have 14 services, okay, that's going to be 14 times 3 would equal 42 articles. Okay, so 42 articles. Plus, if we take away our initial, we had 20. Okay, so we had 20. Let me just see here. So that's going to be 42 articles. Okay, so now we have 42 articles plus the 14 pages. Okay, so that's 42 articles supporting. right? Again, stick with me, bear with me, it'll all make sense to you. 42 articles supporting. So this column here, this is the Plumber News, the blogs. There's going to be 42 articles in our blog, but they're only going to support the main ideas, the product pages, okay? So now, here, if we're in Houston, I write this article. Now, you'd probably make something a lot more clever, but it's going to be like this. Okay, you probably won't make it this long, but just to prove a point here, just to give you understanding, all right? So we've created our 1 plus 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have 20 pages total that are just main pages. We have 42 supporting pages. Okay, so we have 42 supporting plus 20 pages, which is just our basic website. We have 62 pages. Now, on average, top performing local websites have between 50 and 150 pages, right? That is correct. Now, if we go back to our actual visual representation of data, as you can see here, as we cover the topics more, right? We're expanding our reach. We're covering more keywords, keyword variations. We're covering more entity types. We're covering more co-occurring phrases. We're able to expand the amount of keywords that we're ranking for, and we'll also expand how much traffic. So to get back to the main topic, it's like, how much content should I create? Well, this is going to be primarily based on how many services you have and how many service pieces of content you want to create in order to support the main topic. All right. Now, are you just going to write content just to write content? Sure, if you're a blog writer, but it should be all about one topic, and it should always have one purpose: to drive sales for the primary service. Now, as you add services or variations of service, or if you want to talk about services, you can add more services and then add more supporting pieces of content, right? So how much content should you create? You need to have just to drive it all back together, lay out your initial actual pages that you need to have. Home page, top level pages like commercial or residential plumbing, your about us or plumber tips, privacy, copyright. Lay out your services, okay, your primary service, so your location-based service pages. If you have more than one location, well, then you'll have a boatload of content, right? But if it's one location, one service, on average, you're going to have these primary pages, you're going to have your service pages, and then you want to build at least 3 supporting articles to support the product or service that you're promoting or that you're offering. And this is how much content you want to create. Now, in order, because of time and because of budget, and you're probably in a hurry, plus there's Google factors and updates and links and all kinds of other madness going on, where people miss the boat and where they start creating content that doesn't really help produce a ranking increase, is that they start running out of ideas or supporting pieces of content to the main service, and then they just start cranking out blog articles, right? And they miss the piece of extending the existing pieces of content and reincorporating other keywords that Google's rewarding them with. Once you lay out your initial service pages, once you lay out your initial product or service blog pages, the supporting content, right, inside of your silos, like your residential drain cleaning silo page, like, and then you have your content, you can go back and edit those pages. Once you create them, it's not just set it and forget it. You should be going back, pruning the content, adding more content, maybe updating images, adding other keywords, adding more headers, adding more content, maybe taking out specific words and adding other words based on Google Search Console, because Google's starting to show you impressions for keywords that you might not even have on the page. This is where I see a lot of people, they keep cranking all this content out. Update and expand the content that you have, and you'll see so much better success. Create your initial pages. Create your product or service-based location pages. Then create 3, maybe even 5 supporting pieces of content that support the product or service page that you're promoting. This is how much content you need to create in order to rank on Google. My name is Chris Palmer. If you have any future questions at all related to SEO content writing, anything, never hesitate. Feel free to go ahead and ask in the section below. And I always look forward to seeing you in the next Content Writing for SEO. How much content do I need to create in order to start ranking on Google video? I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.